Over the weekend, Donald Trump shattered the record for a single event fundraiser, bringing in $50.5 million, shattering Joe Biden's triple presidential Lizzo fundraiser, where they brought in $25 million. Of course, the big news today has nothing to do with record fundraising, but everything to do with Donald Trump saying that Joe Biden soiled himself at the coveted Resolute Desk. Yes, that's right. We lead with only the most important stories, and that is Donald Trump saying, quite literally, that he said Joe Biden soiled the Resolute Desk, and I mean that literally. And here's the big story. But Trump is a master of shattering the image of individuals in marketing. I don't know that Joe Biden actually soiled himself at the Resolute Desk. I do have the science to back up and the stats, the claim and probabilities of whether or not Joe Biden actually did. And my friends, according to science, well, 42.3% of elderly people require diapers. That includes Donald Trump. Okay, but Donald Trump, he knows how to brand this. And right now, the image of Joe Biden is feebled and incapable, lacking mental capabilities. So, of course, Donald Trump is going to hit him where it hurts in a humiliating fashion. Now, on to the real news. Donald Trump raised a record $50.5 million. So what does the media have to say about this? Instead of running headlines like they did for Joe Biden, where they said Joe Biden shatters record with Obama, Clinton, Biden fundraiser, Lizzo is there. Instead, they run the story. Joe Biden's record haul maintains lead against Donald Trump. That's right. When you look up the news, even though Donald Trump, as of this weekend, has the record for any presidential campaign, the news is that Joe Biden's widened his lead against Donald Trump. Now, here's the fascinating thing. I did the math, ladies and gentlemen, because that's what we do here at Timcast Journalism. And you've got the Biden campaign saying, yeah, well, you know, Donald Trump, he may have raised money, but we got nurses and teachers. One guy goes on MSNBC and says, Donald Trump's donors are all scammers and racist billionaires. My friends, I did the math. The majority of Donald Trump's donors are small donors. The majority of Joe Biden's donors are greater than $500 donors. I believe, I have the charts pulled up, but Joe Biden's donors lean slightly towards the wealthy. Donald Trump's donors lean slightly towards the poor. Now, they're going to try and make this claim that Donald Trump's getting all the billionaires. That's how he's making this money. Well, the reality is Donald Trump got a handful of really wealthy individuals at this PAC fundraiser. But for his campaign, it is more so mostly small dollar donors. And that's bad news for Democrats trying to maintain this narrative that they are the party of the people. No, they're the party of the wealthy, my friends. Now, of course, it is Eclipse Day. And so by where we are at in West Virginia, we're looking at around a 3 o'clock beginning of the eclipse. And that's all anyone cares about. So I have to mention that, right? But let's read the news. Starting with why Donald Trump said Joe Biden soiled the Resolute Desk. Yeah. From the Daily Mail, Donald Trump suggests Joe Biden soiled the coveted Resolute Desk as he blasts president over border policy in comments made at investor dinner where he raised $50.5 million. Now, what I love about this is they say he implied it. Oh, boy. Donald Trump has implied Joe Biden defecated on the... Oh, man. Implied Joe Biden defecated on the Resolute Desk during a billionaire's fundraiser in Palm Beach. A source told the New York Times Trump made the remarks during a 45-minute presentation at a dinner hosted by investor John Paulson Saturday night. The comments came as Trump lambasted Biden's border policy and mocked him for making poor decisions behind the Resolute Desk, which was gifted to the U.S. by Queen Victoria in 1880. The Resolute Desk is beautiful, Trump proclaimed. Ronald Reagan used it. Others used it. He then sounded disgusted, according to the unnamed attendee, and he's using it. I might not use it the next time. It's been soiled. And I mean that literally, which is sad. I don't think Trump was saying that Joe Biden literally jumped up on the Resolute Desk and relieved himself all over it. I think what he's implying is that Joe Biden soiled himself at the Resolute Desk. Now, the Daily Mail wants to interpret that as defecating on the Resolute Desk because it's 2024 and we live in a simulation. It's a comedy show, apparently, and we're only allowed to have the funniest things, ladies and gentlemen. The source reported that guests broke into laughter, interpreting the remark as the former president saying that Biden had defecated on the desk. Trump said, I mean that literally. Yeah, I think when you look at the data, there's a strong possibility that Joe Biden soiled himself while working in the Oval Office. I think, look, man, I don't think any casino would play that game. The house edge would be like minus 20%. They'd be like, we're going to lose. Joe Biden probably soils himself a lot. The remarks followed a tirade against Biden's immigration policy, which includes migrants being shipped in, brought in, deposited into our country, according to Trump. The former president claimed the newly arrived migrants make the Hells Angels look like extremely nice people. These are people coming in from prisons and jails. They're coming in from just unbelievable places and countries that are a disaster. He then appeared to reference a comment from 2018 when he dubbed Haiti, El Salvador, and a slew of African nations ish-hole countries. And when I said, why can't we allow people to come in from nice countries? I'm trying to be nice, Trump said. Nice countries, like Denmark, Switzerland. Do we have any people coming in from Denmark? How about Switzerland? How about Norway? Trump has accused migrants of poisoning the blood of the country and made similar comments during a rally in Grand Rapids, Michigan last week, accusing Biden of unleashing a bloodbath at the country's southern border. Under crooked Joe Biden, every state is now a border state. Every town is now a border town because Joe Biden has brought the carnage and chaos and killing from all over the world and dumped it straight into our backyards, Trump said. His concerns have been echoed by other conservative politicians, like Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn. Thank you for the exposition, Daily Mail. But the news is that Donald Trump said Joe Biden defecated on the Resolute Desk. Well, I decided to pull up some facts and science. And I mean this in no way disrespectful to the average elderly individual. But according to, I don't know what this website is. It's just what you get when you Google it. About 42.3% of the elderly population uses diapers or pads. This can have an interference in living costs. A study in the home environment showed that absorbent materials represent 63% of total costs of the elderly patient. That's a lot. And again, I mean this is no disrespect. Elderly people have problems holding it in. And that's why they sell diapers. That's why when you go to the grocery store, they actually have Depends. Okay? And I think I warn all of you younger people not to mock. There's jokes about this stuff. But, one day your time will come. One day you'll be sitting there and you will be old and you will crap your pants and you'll be like, maybe I shouldn't have made fun of these people. My point is simply this. The likelihood that Joe Biden took a dump into his pants at the Resolute Desk, I think it's fairly high. Okay? Because even if Joe Biden is feeling fine, one time it happens. There already were rumors circulating that Joe Biden soiled himself while on a trip, I think, to the Vatican. I can't remember exactly where, because he was super late for, this is funny because he was like late for a speech or something and then he showed up wearing different clothes. And I'm like, someone could have spilled wine on him. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to make but hey, look, humiliation's the name of the game. Well, here we are, my friends. Politico, Trump campaign says it raised more than $50 million at Saturday fundraiser. This is the actual big news. It's just not nearly as fun. Former President Trump raised more than $50 million at a Saturday evening fundraiser, where he once again pressed President Joe Biden to debate him, according to a campaign aide. Trump spoke for about 45 minutes before 117 seated guests, according to the aide, who was granted anonymity to speak freely. Trump is pushing to close a massive cash disadvantage against Biden. According to figures released by the two campaigns, Biden ended March with $192 million on hand, more than twice as much as Trump. Attendees at Saturday evening's event were asked to donate as much as $814,000. Trump is set to, I paused there thinking like, so ask him to donate $10 million, whatever. What's the number for? Trump is set to hold another high dollar fundraiser on Wednesday in Atlanta. During his private remarks, Trump reiterated his call for Biden to debate him. According to the aide, after refusing himself to participate in the Republican primary debates, Biden said last month that his willingness to debate would depend on Trump's behavior, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Sorry. The event was held at the Palm Beach, Florida, home of billionaire investor John Paulson. Other major donors in attendance included the New York Jets owner Woody Johnson, energy executive Harold Hamm, and sugar mogul Pepe Fanjul Sr. Ah, the sugar mogul. I don't know about all that sugar. Former First Lady Melania Trump was also present. Melania has largely been absent from the trail during her husband's 2024 campaign, but she's beginning to reemerge. Later this month, she is set to host a fundraiser for the log cabin Republicans. Oh, that's cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, they ain't taking it too kindly. I think it's absolutely hilarious that when Biden raises $25 million and they got Obama, Biden, Clinton, Lizzo, and others showing up and they're like, let's go, Democrats, yeah, and they raised $25 million and the media funds, they broke a record. See, the thing is, the reason why Trump doesn't have the cash on hand that Biden does is because they're trying to put him in prison. And so a lot of this fundraising is going towards Trump's legal fees. That was always the plan. They may not actually want to put Trump in prison. I think they do, but I'm saying they know that whether they want to or not, putting this pressure on him, making him spend millions on legal fees is a way to cheat. The Democrats are cheating. Let me stress it again. You got these psychopaths going on TV or going on TikTok and being like, Trump was indicted. They're cheating. Okay? That's it. There's nothing else. They're cheating. Trump is the front runner in the polls. They're putting legal pressure on him, civil pressure and criminal pressure to strip him of his ability to actually compete. They're strapping, they've cemented blocks to his feet because they know he's faster than Biden. They are cheating. Well, now you get this. I love this one. So when Biden raises all this money, it's, oh, wow, it's amazing. When Trump doubles it, they go, they're scammers. Look at this. Biden campaign accuses Trump of hosting scammers, racists, and extremists at Palm Beach fundraiser. President Biden's campaign has accused, as we heard this, Trump's Saturday evening fundraiser held in Palm Beach, Florida, at the home of billionaire John Paulson, is being co-chaired by business mogul Robert Bigelow and Linda McMahon and real estate developer Steve Wynn, blah, blah, blah. The guest list, blah, blah, blah. The Biden campaign senior spokesperson, Serafina Chitika, made an incendiary remark about the event on Friday, accusing Trump of inviting racists and extremists. Quote, if you want to know who Donald Trump will fight for in a second term, just look at who he is having over for dinner Saturday night. Tax cheats, scammers, racists, and extremists. Chitika, I don't know, said in a statement to The Hill. That's right. Make no mistake, Donald Trump will do the bidding of his billionaire buddies instead of what is best for the American people. He'll take their checks and cut their taxes and leave hardworking people behind, shipping their jobs overseas, gutting Social Security and Medicare, ripping away healthcare protections, and banning abortion. Okay. So Trump is the candidate of ending the TPP. You know what that is? That's called the Trans-Pacific Partnership. This was an international trade agreement, which basically, well, it would have given foreign governments and corporations the ability to sue us, and it would have given leverage to foreign countries with a treaty over our commerce. The Trans-Pacific Partnership would have opened up free trade, literally sending your jobs overseas, and Donald Trump comes right into office. One of the first things he does is he shuts it down. Oh, boy. Were the powerful industrialist, globalist class pissed off when he did that? The funny thing is, many occupiers, many leftists opposed the Trans-Pacific Partnership too, even Bernie Sanders. Donald Trump wanted to secure the border and bring jobs back to this country, started a trade war over it. And what happened? In Michigan, auto manufacturing returned a $3 billion investment because Trump said it then, he said it again recently. If you make your cars in China, Mexico, wherever, we will put a tariff on them so high no one will ever buy your car again. It'll make it too expensive. Protectionist, I suppose, if that's the right word. But preserving American jobs and protecting the American auto industry. So if you work in the Rust Belt and you work in the auto industry, Trump's your guy. And if you support Biden, you won't have a job. And I think that's already been the case. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they as soon as Biden gets elected, they already are like, woohoo, we're going back to Mexico. You see, here's the thing. What do these people want? Normalized international economics. They want the average income of all nations to be the same. They want global equality in income. They want it so that if you're born in Mexico, and you're middle class, you'll make the same amount as someone in the United States. If you're born in, let's just say South Africa or Zimbabwe, It's still called Zimbabwe. I don't know. You will make the same thing. That's their goal. So where they're starting now is with the North American bloc. They're obviously trying it in Europe. The euro had devastating consequences when they did this. So I was in Spain. And before the euro, Spain had the peseta, I believe. I don't know. I'm not a big expert on Spain. But I was hanging out with my friend who's an activist, and they said, why are they protesting? Well, you used to wake up, go to get a newspaper, 1 peseta. You'd get a coffee and a muffin, one. Then, one day, they said, we're now going to be on the euro instead of the local currencies. And they switched. All of a sudden, you are now having to use euros. And the newspaper, don't worry, it only costs €1, right? The problem was that the exchange rate for the peseta was 3-1. For every 3 peseta, you got €1, which meant the cost of goods tripled overnight. What happens? The countries that were impacted by this needed loans. And now they're in debt to Germany. So people were really pissed off about this. This is what they want in the North American bloc. They want to send your jobs to Mexico to create middle-class conditions in Mexico with your jobs and your goods, and then they'll print the money that we will use to buy them, and then eventually what this means is your standard of living will go down and theirs will go up. I don't think that's any of our business and our responsibilities to our citizens. Trump wanted to keep America as the shining city on the hill, and the Democrats want everyone to be equal. They want to cut off the tall grass. But let's get into those numbers, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, how fun. For Voice America, Biden's fundraiser with Obama Clinton nets record $26 million. That was the news, right? Well, here we go. Biden campaign reacts to Trump's single event fundraising record. Well, what does this man here have to say? This is an interview with Voice America. President Joe Biden's re-election campaign downplayed the single event fundraising record. I would like to hear this man's words from his own mouth.
That top donors to Joe Biden's campaign are nurses and teachers. We are powered by working people, and that is a stark contrast to Donald Trump's campaign. And this is what's going to win elections.
But money.
I would like to just play that one more time for you, because this is what the face of evil looks like.
Latest fundraising achievements.
That top donors to Joe Biden's campaign are nurses and teachers. We are powered by working people, and that is a stark contrast to Donald Trump's campaign. And this is what's going to win elections.
All right. Well, how about we do the math, ladies and gentlemen? I'd like you to take a look at this. Donor demographics, presidential election 2024. Now, we got a whole bunch of numbers here on this here screen, but don't worry, my friends. I did the legwork pulling up a spreadsheet and adding all the numbers together for you. It took me a whole 1 minute to do, but you don't even need to do it, honestly. Donors between $200 and $499. So this is Joe Biden. You got what looks to be about just about the 42,000, 41,000 or so. It looks like 42,000. And that's number of donors between 200 and 499. From 500 to 1,000, looks like you have around 22. From $1,000 to $3,000, looks like about 15. 15,000, sorry. 3,000 plus, looks like about 6. And then finally, 5,600. Look at this. Looks like you're about 4,000, just shy of 4,000, right? Let's pop over to our good friend Donald Trump. Donald Trump's big dollar donors, 157 females, 267 males. These are not big donors. You take a look. Actually, you know what? Let's just bypass all the hoo-ha and him-ham and whatever. Here's the actual spreadsheet breakdown. This is Joe Biden's small dollar donors. I shouldn't say small dollar, but between 200. So this is not calculating. I am not calculating below the $20 number or the $200 number. Just from the federal election data we have right here. And I will stress this point. There probably are very different numbers pertaining to those under $200. Totally acknowledge that. All I'm doing is looking at open secrets and taking the contribution details that they have available, running these numbers together. Keep in mind, when it comes to the actual $20 donors, there are numbers we do not have here. But at least among the available data from open secrets, I can tell you this. The majority of donors, here we go. There's a spreadsheet. 47,340 are 500 plus for Joe Biden. 40,000 are 200 to 500. That's actually a lot more $500 plus donors. And all I'm showing you this for is not to claim that the under 200s are different. It's to show for Donald Trump, it's inverted. He's got 56,000 donors at 2 to 500 and only 49,500 plus. Now, to be fair, he's got more donors than Joe Biden does in this data set. So when the guy says, yeah, but we have a bunch of teachers, that's in contrast to Trump's campaign, I don't think that's a fair assessment. The ratio of larger donors, Biden has a larger ratio of higher dollar donors in this data set than Trump does. So not only does Trump have more donors, they're actually more likely to be giving between $200 and $499. So don't play that game. Don't play that game. Now, I did quickly try to look up donors that were under that amount, and I'll try and do it one more time real quick. Let's see. Let's do this. Total Trump under $200 donors, because you get a bunch of weird stuff and a bunch of old stuff. So yeah, when you try and search for this, it's not as fast. I'm sure I could pull it up, but what is this? The GOP's big donor problem? Let's see. It looks like they're saying Trump's got a problem and that big donors don't want to give this. Hey, take a look at this. Let's just pull this data up. In 2020, big donors who gave $100K or more contributed only to Democrats. Who contributed only to Democrats gave $5.2 billion. Only big donor only Republican big donors chipped in $3.3 billion. A huge number that nevertheless left them trailing by almost $2 billion. So what do they have to? Is it what is this? This is from April 1st. So my understanding was that they say at the presidential level in 2020, 45% of Trump's cash came from small donors, those giving $200 or less, while 38% of Biden's haul came from that group. Let's see if I can do this real quick. Open secrets, Trump small donors. Let's see if they have that data. Okay, looks like they do. Small dollar donations as a percentage of total fundraising. That was easy. Should have done that one in the first place. Hey, look at this. This is for 2020. Let's see if I can try and pull up 2024. Donald Trump obviously surpassed. Let's see what we have. We have small donors. We want to go to presidential elections 2024 and small donors. And does Trump take the cake? Cornel West. Let's see. Joe Biden is currently higher small dollar donors than Donald Trump. Totally can respect that data point as of right now. So we'll see. We'll see. When they claim that Trump's got all of these scammers, billionaires or otherwise, when it comes to $200 to $5,600 plus, Trump actually beats Joe Biden. Right now, according to Open Secrets, Joe Biden does have 46.73% are coming from small donors. That's interesting. It's interesting. Well, there we go. And then you can see everybody else in the mix. We'll see how this changes, though. Right now, you've got Marianne Williamson, Cornel West, RFK Jr. I do think it's interesting to make RFK Jr. red. Dean Phillips. I wonder how this number could change when you begin to eliminate all these other individuals and we ramp up the election cycle. For the time being, though, I'll give Biden that one. They have been. And this is something you should pay attention to, because if Joe Biden does have a large portion of his funds coming from small donors and Trump's donors are between 200 and 5,600, it's going to be an interesting race. But I suppose the only thing that really matters is, did Joe Biden soil himself at the Resolute Desk? At least that'll be the PR campaign, and that'll be the game we're playing. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.